Often when you're learning jazz, the instructor will say something like, learn that in all 12 keys. And usually what that means is you're going to practice something in C, then in F, then in B flat, then in E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G. Okay, now I'll put up a graphic of the circle of fourths and you'll be able to see that what we're doing is moving around in a counterclockwise motion around that circle. You'll also see the key signatures. You'll see in the small letters on the inside the relative minor keys. For example, C major is a capital C, and the A on the inside is a lowercase c. That means A minor and C are the same key signature. Obvious stuff. Okay, so if you're moving through practicing, say, a little scale fragment, you know, and then you want to do it in F, and then you want to do it in B flat, and then E flat, and then A flat. Let's see. Changing strings is good. Moving to D flat, to G flat, to B, and let's try it in E. Okay, and then in A, and then D, and lastly in G. Okay, so I moved the string sets around and I changed octaves so I could give myself an extra challenge rather than just playing it in easy positions. But anyway, any idea that you're practicing, it could be a melody, it could be a scale fragment like that, it could be a 2-5-1 pattern, it could be an enclosure, maybe something like that, a sort of a jazz phrase. You can move it through 12 keys. You could do this with a chord progression as well. Take a standard tune that you're working on, or a blues, or rhythm changes, and try it in all 12 keys. So that's a way of sort of keeping yourself honest, right? You're playing in C, F, B flat, E flat, all 12. Now, some days you might not have enough time to actually practice in 12 keys, or you might get tired of that system. So here's another way of thinking. If we go back to our circle and we draw a square, so we're going to start at C, move to A, then move to G flat, and then E flat. Well, if we order that differently, C, E flat, G flat, A. And then if we use the enharmonic name for the A and call it B double flat, C, E flat, G flat, B double flat. Sounds like a diminished chord. Okay, so that's C diminished seventh. Now, that's 4 keys. So I could take my idea. Let's play that same scale fragment. Now in E flat. Now in G flat. Now in A. Okay, I've covered 4 different keys. Does that make sense? Okay, so some days you might not want to play 12 keys. Play 4 keys. You'll see that if we take that square that I drew in the circle and we rotate the circle around, our next 4 keys would be F, A flat, B, and D. So maybe the next day of the week I could practice the idea in F, A flat, B, D. Now I've practiced the idea in those 4 keys. Rotate it again. B flat. Okay, and I get 4 new keys here. B flat, D flat, E, G. Okay, so I've taken the idea now into 4 different new keys. You'll notice with diminished chords, I don't know which camera to look at. You'll notice with diminished chords that there are only 3, right? We've played the C diminished, the F diminished, and the B flat diminished. The next key we would get to if we kept going around the circle would be E flat. E flat diminished is exactly the same as C diminished. Okay, so each one of those diminished chords covering 4 keys is actually, what's the word? Symmetrical. All right, so that's the diminished square. You make a square within the circle, and then you practice that way. I'll give you one more idea along these lines. What if we only did 3 keys? C, A flat, and E. it would look like a triangle. The C, A flat, E triangle, if we respell the A flat as a G sharp, what do we get? C, E, G sharp. Aha! Augmented, C augmented. Now this one rotates 4 times because we have C augmented, D flat augmented, D augmented, E flat augmented, and then at E it starts repeating itself, right? Those are the same notes as we started on. Okay, so you'll see that's another way to practice. So if I was doing that and I was going to play my scale fragment exercise, now I go to A flat, and then to E, and then I'm back at C. So anything I learn, I can learn in those 3 keys on that day. Some days you want to play 12 keys, some days 4, some days 3. Okay, lastly, I'll give you one more idea for modulating when you're learning a new concept. Just move up by semitones. Just move the guitar. Move it again. Move it again. Okay, so you're just moving up by a fret or by a semitone each time. You can also practice modulating by descending. So moving downwards in a chromatic fashion. Now you have a lot of different ways of practicing. So as you take stock of the things you're practicing and learning, licks, melodies, chords, tunes, try them in 12 keys. Try them in 4 keys. And try them in 3 keys. And then modulate by semitone up or down. Hope you've enjoyed this one. Thanks a lot.